Blue Gold, 9 Sustainable Development Goals, 9 episodes to discover inspirational stories about water. Episode 2, Saving Soils Through Remediation.
So I'm Philippe Sainte-Marie, Tender and Procurement Director with Veolia Water Technologies, Canada.
My name is Maiken Faurbye. I'm the department manager of Krûger's Soil Remediation department. We do soil heating and soil remediation, and we have the main know-how in Veolia to do that.
Unprecedented achievements in science and industry have pushed back the boundaries of what we thought possible, even 50 years ago. But these achievements also force us to reckon with each other and face the impact of unchecked industry and human conflict. As UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said in his recent speech in honor of Earth Day,
"We heedlessly plunder the Earth's resources, deplete its wildlife and treat air, land and seas as dumping grounds. This is suicidal. We must end our war on nature and nurse it back to health."
According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, 95% of the food we eat comes from the soil, yet a third of the Earth's soils are already degraded. Goal number 15 is Life on Land. This goal is about protecting and restoring our land ecosystems and promoting their sustainable use. It aims to halt and reverse the damage we've done already. In this episode, we visit 2 places where Veolia Water Technologies has helped repair that damage: an abandoned open pit mine in Canada and the Da Nang airport in Vietnam. Let's first go to Canada, in the Yukon Territory. It's 1989, during the last glory years of the Faro mine.
This is the Krûger Resources mine near Faro, Yukon, Canada. These trucks haul 170 tons each. In a day, they bring out close to 80,000 tons of lead-zinc ore and waste.
But in 1998, less than a decade later, the company operating the mine went bankrupt, leaving behind 320 million tons of waste rock, 70 million tons of tailings, and a rising pit lake. Unsurprisingly, the Faro mine would go on to become one of Canada's largest ever cleanup projects. In 2014, Veolia was tasked with installing a new water treatment plant to decontaminate water from the abandoned mine pit. But let's hear from Philippe Sainte-Marie about Veolia's work on the site.
For Veolia Water Technologies Canada, it was one of the first major remediation projects that we were participating to. The biggest challenge was certainly managing, the size of the project, but the context of the project as well was very challenging.
Faro is remote, hundreds of kilometers deep into the Yukon Territory. Building materials there are expensive and hard to come by. And due to the cold, major construction is only practical a few months out of the year. As a result, the plant was built in Montreal and shipped in pieces to Faro.
Just transporting those huge equipment from our Montreal facility up to Faro and making sure that everything gets to site in good condition and all the activities are well planned. That was certainly a big challenge that I'll remember for a long time.
Veolia Water Technologies successfully installed the machinery on site and began decontaminating water from the mine even before the building was built over the plant, a sign of how urgent it was that they get the job done. Leaving Canada's north behind, let's go now to the bustling city of Da Nang in Vietnam. Da Nang experienced a very different kind of self-inflicted wound. Instead of an abandoned mine, this is the remains of war. During the US-Vietnam War, the Da Nang International Airport was Da Nang Air Base. It was here that nearly 95,000 barrels of Agent Orange and other herbicides were stored, mixed, and loaded onto airplanes. As a result, for nearly 50 years, the northern end of the airport remained a hotspot for highly toxic dioxin contamination.
Before the remediation project started, the contamination was situated inside the airport area. There was a fence around this area, and it was just brown because there was no grass growing in that area. So actually, you could see from air photos that in this area that there was nothing growing at all.
We met Maiken Faurbye to learn about the work done by Krûger, a subsidiary of Veolia Water Technologies in Da Nang. The American and Vietnamese governments launched a joint remediation project for the airport in 2012. The purpose was to bring level of dioxins and other contaminants in the soil to acceptable levels.
The contamination at the Da Nang airport was spread like a huge pancake. So you are not able to do traditional in situ thermal treatment on that. The contamination were spread only for a few meters in depth. So in this case, it really made sense to collect all the soil and put it into a big pile structure.
The pile was a 2-story box, roughly as long and wide as a football field. Over 18 months, 2 batches of the soil were heated to over 300 degrees Celsius, destroying some contaminants and evaporating the rest to be collected and cleaned. The result exceeded expectations, removing 99.99% of the contaminants. Da Nang is no longer a dioxin hotspot. After half a century, life in and around the airport can finally return to normal.
Soil contamination is a worldwide problem. It stays in the soil for ages. Sometimes it will stay there for maybe more than 100 or 1,000 years if you don't do anything about it.
Today, we're doing lots of mining projects and we're treating water as it's being used. And I think that's a much more reliable approach than just dumping the water there and leaving the problem to a future generation after. It's not the way it works anymore, and that's how it needs to be.
When I studied geology, the most important for me was that I could use my education to something meaningful, because I am interested in doing something good for the environment. And I think that I can actually do that by working with soil remediation in Krûger.
A sustainable future cannot be the responsibility of governments only. Companies, including Veolia Water Technologies, must also do their part, as they did in Faroe and Da Nang. Thanks in part to its experience in Da Nang, Krûger is testing using similar technology to help clean up other sites, including Groen 42, one of Denmark's most infamous contamination sites. There is a kind of poetry to a geology student from Denmark, traveling through history all the way to Vietnam, able to return home with the skills she needs to help her neighbors. The clock is ticking. A mere 10 years is left to meet the targets we have set ourselves. A decade for action, as the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, calls it. So, let's act today. We are all resources.